Israel has the right to defend, but it has to be done accordingly with international law, humanitarian law. And some decisions are counter this international law. Today we had invited the two ministers, the ministers of Foreign Affairs of Israel and Palestine, and happily, finally, the participation informing the ministers could not be materialized. So the ministers discussed among us, and the common denominator was a strong condemnation of terrorism, the inhuman treatment. As I said, they replicated the text of the agreement, of the communication that we did this morning with our colleagues from the Gulf Cooperation Council. We discussed about how to continue our relationship with the Palestinian Authority. It was a clear distinction between Hamas, the Palestinian people, and the Palestinian Authority. We consider Hamas a terrorist organization, and what they have done shows that certainly they behave like this. But the Palestinian Authority is another thing. The Palestinian Authority is our partner. We don't deal with Hamas, but yes, we support and we deal and we work together with the Palestinian Authority. And not all the Palestinian people are terrorists. So a collective punishment against all Palestinians will be unfair and unproductive. It will be against our interest and against the interest of the peace. So the ministers discussed what to do and how to continue our relationship with the Palestinian Authority and supporting the Palestinian people. And it was an overwhelming majority with maybe 2 or 3 exceptions of the member states stating clearly that the cooperation with the Palestinian Authority has to continue, and the funding has to continue, and the payments should not be interrupted. Yes, the Commission proposes a review. Some member states also wants to do a review of how this support is being implemented, who is receiving it, in order to be sure that there is no link between our support and the Hamas terrorist activities. But this review should not be an excuse for delaying the implementation of our cooperation. It has to be done quickly, and I personally, with my services, will push for this review to be done inside the Commission and in partnership with the member states in order to ensure that there is not this risk of leakage and funding behind the door any kind of terrorism activities. By the way, 4 years after we are in our official positions, we discover that we have been funding Hamas terrorist activities. Someone will have to take political responsibility for that. I don't believe it happens. But let's check it. So member states are in a continuous process of verification of how the help is being provided to whom. So it's nothing extraordinary. Well, what is extraordinary is the current circumstances that maybe require a deep analysis. But some member states, many member states, insisted on the idea that this has not to be an excuse for delaying our cooperation with the Palestinian Authority, and the payments should not be impeded by this process. And I personally, with my services, will take care that this review is being implemented in the shorter possible terms, because our will is to continue supporting the Palestinian Authority, something completely different from Hamas. It will be a big mistake in this critical moment to stop our support to the Palestinian Authority. It will be a mistake because it will be the best present that we could give to Hamas. And it will jeopardize our interest and our partnership with the Arab world. Since yesterday's announcement, it has been a wave of people asking the reasons for that and asking the European Union to continue humanitarian support, for sure. This is not under discussion. The Commissioner in charge this morning has explained clearly in the meeting, Janusz Lenarczyk, that humanitarian support and the communication of the Commission state clearly that this is not under discussion. What we are talking is about the cooperation to the development, cooperation for public services, financing of the activities of the United Nations organizations who provide services to the Palestinians. We will check, we will review, member states will do the same thing, but once again, the overwhelming majority of the member states consider that we have to continue our support to the Palestinian Authority, and the payments due should not be delayed in a moment in which this organization is in a critical moment because the Palestinian people are also suffering. All in all, this barbaric and terrorist attack that has caused so many casualties, so many people being killed, that has provoked a reaction from the Israeli Defense Forces, which also will cause human suffering. We insist on that this has to be done according with humanitarian law, but the fact is that at that moment the casualties in Gaza are also increasing. 150,000 people are internally displaced, and the humanitarian situation is dire, so we will have to support more, not less, more. This is, I think, the 95% of the positions expressed by member states here, and this is mark the way we have to work. These are sad days, but it may be an occasion to put again on the table the quest for peace in order to avoid another cycle of violence. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, High Representative. So we have time for a couple of questions.